get through time in prison is to read. It helps us to think, to open our mind, to really be productive in there. It can help us with our ability to tell stories, our ability to communicate. And these are skills that all of us need, but particularly somebody that I call justice impacted needs. So on our through our web channel at Prison Professors, we are always inviting people who are serving time to write book reports so that they can share with us what they are learning from the books that they are reading in prison. And today we have a book report from our friend Jeff Pica. I'm going to turn to what he wrote about a book called Fly into the Wind by the author Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney. Now, since Jeff cannot access the internet or cannot access an ability to film a video, I'm reading it for him and sending this in as part of our curriculum to people so that people in jail and prison can learn and potentially check out this book as well. So now I'm going to read why I read Fly into the Wind. During one of the many daily sessions I was in the prison library reading, one of my fellow prison brothers, and he says that's my own substitute for inmates, handed me a magazine that had an article about Tim Tebow and what he is doing now. The Christian-based magazine is called Jesus Calling. All the articles are no more than 2 pages long. The Tim Tebow article it shows me that he's doing quite well for himself after his NFL dreams were cut shorter than he would have liked. His aspirations of being a Major League Baseball player didn't exactly pan out either. But he works as a college football analyst on ESPN, and he married a former Miss Universe contestant. So I think he's doing well. I was perusing through the magazine, and I came across an article written about a Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney. Per the article, Lieutenant Colonel Rooney is the only person to ever simultaneously be a fighter pilot with 3 combat tours in Iraq and also distinguish himself as a PGA golfer. The article intrigued me. It turns out that Lieutenant Rooney wrote a self-help book called Fly into the Wind. He also wrote a second book called A Patriot's Calling. Further, he founded an awesome nonprofit called Folds of Honor Foundation. What I learned from reading Fly into the Wind. A majority of the 13 chapters in Fly into the Wind explains Lieutenant Colonel Rooney's philosophy on how to use 10 tactics to achieve CAVU in our personal life. CAVU is an acronym that pilots use for Ceiling and Visibility Unrestricted. With CAVU, we have a guide to get the most out of our life. An example is how you interpret pressure. As the name of the book implies, fighter pilots take off into the wind because the increased air pressure makes it easier to lift off. Therefore, do not view pressure in your own life as a negative, but as a positive, and Lieutenant Colonel Rooney explains how to do this in detail. The chapter that hit home most for me is titled Volition. Don't worry, because I didn't have any idea what volition meant. But if I were you, I would remember it from now on because I think it is one of the most important words in the English language. Volition is the freedom to choose. While attending the University of Kansas, Lieutenant Colonel Rooney decided to take Sports Psychology 101. On the first day of class, the professor asked the class if anyone knew the definition of volition. No one knew how to answer. So the professor defined volition and explained that there are millions of people all over the world that don't have volition in their lives or in their country like we do here. However, just having volition does not serve you well unless you commit to the chores you make or the choices you make. The professor then broke down the different degrees of commitment that one can choose. I won't, I can't, I'd like to, I'll try, I can, and I will. As you can see, the degree of commitment increases from basically no way to let's do it. One more interesting note about the above list is only one option gives you 0 wiggle room in terms of full commitment to your choice. I will. Even saying I can does not have the same level of accountability as I will. Although I am in prison, there are still plenty of examples of the power of volition. When to eat and when not to eat, what to watch on TV or not watch on TV at all, or not watch TV at all. How much sleep do I need, and do I need a nap? Should I even bother exercising when I know winter is coming and I will be stuck inside most days? What books should I read, or should I even bother reading anything at all? If you treat those choices like New Year's resolutions where there are more I'll tries and I wills, failure is almost certain. By committing to I will and telling others I will, you have created accountability, and your drive to succeed increases exponentially. In my personal case, I have been working on the I will concept since surrendering to prison. I cut out sodas, chips, and sweets since day one when I self-surrendered. The I will momentum has continued to my commitment to exercise daily, reading daily, and contributing to society while still being incarcerated. The snowball of success of an I will attitude is not only is the backbone for people like Tom Brady, Serena Williams, and Jeff Bezos, but also for outstanding Americans like Lieutenant Colonel Rooney when he decided to return to fighter pilot school when he was still on the PGA Tour. How reading Fly into the Wind will contribute to my success. The power of volition and an I will attitude not only made Lieutenant Colonel Rooney a great golfer and a fighter pilot, but also someone I wish to follow in the footsteps of when it comes to giving back to society. Lieutenant Colonel Rooney saw firsthand the devastating impact war can have on the children of those soldiers who gave the ultimate sacrifice and died while serving their country. Lieutenant Rooney started the Folds of Honor Foundation. To date, his foundation has awarded more than 29,000 college scholarships to family members of killed in action or disabled soldiers. It strove to honor soldiers' families by allowing their children to receive a college education and accomplish an American dream. The father or mother may have died or been permanently disabled trying to protect our country, but the dream should live on. The combination of volition and I will attitude that started Folds of Honor led to Lieutenant Colonel Rooney to use his contacts at the PGA to hold a Patriot Golf Day, which is now a nationwide fundraiser held at golf courses across the country over Memorial Day weekend. The Fly into the Wind book made me ask a question. Will I choose to help others not just when I get out of prison, but while I'm in prison? I have 2 words in response to that question: I will. Now here Jeff tells us about me. My name is Jeff Pica, and I was sentenced to 34 months in federal prison camp in Oxford, Wisconsin, after committing and pleading guilty to a white-collar crime. Before self-surrendering on June the 6th, 2022, I promised my wife and family that I will exit prison a better husband, son, brother, Christian, future employee, and overall better member of society because I am going to better myself in 3 ways. Number 1, physically. Not just for vanity purposes, but a better operating body equals a better operating mind. And 2, mentally, reading books, stories, papers, and magazines that educate and elevate my mind and expand my vocabulary. And 3, spiritually. For me, this means learning more from the Bible, but it can mean whatever greater good you believe in. Shortly after surrendering and reading Michael Santos' book, Earning Freedom, Conquering a 45-Year Prison Term, it inspired me to want to help just one person who is possibly heading to prison, so I started emailing my family posts that my sister uses to post as a blog on reddit.com called Letters from Federal Prison. I believe to date the blog has close to 7,000 views and shares, plus 3 comments from people the blog has helped. This has motivated me to keep writing, which I have never done before, anything like this. And I really want to help more people return to society next year. Thanks for reading, Jeff Pica. So what's really crucial here, I think, for any reader is to realize, regardless of where you are, you could always strive to contribute to society and strive to become a better member of your community. And your community, of course, is the human race, right? It's people all over the world. Now that we could disseminate information using the internet, we really have opportunities to live lives of meaning and relevance and dignity, even if we're locked inside of a federal prison. I'm very grateful to Jeff for sharing this message, and I'm happy to share these book reports with other members of our community. Perhaps they will be helpful to somebody who wants to figure out strategies to make it through a difficult journey. I'm Michael Santos with Prison Professors, and we believe in you. Thanks.